The vlog the day of my labor and my delivery, and I hope you guys have gotten a chance or will get a chance to check that out. Again, it will be linked to this video, so if you have not yet watched it, please go over and watch it.
It's like that, it's like that, it's like family. It's like that, it's like that, it's like family. It's like that, it's like that, it's like family.
Faith family, faith family.
It's like that, it's like that, it's like family. It's like that, it's like that, it's like family. It's like that, yeah, it's like family. It's like.
Hey fam, how is it going? Oh my gosh, I have been so anticipating and waiting to do a vlog focused on my natural labor and delivery. So I did a vlog. Great experience. Different experience, however. So I have been waiting to do like a commentary on my labor and delivery for my 5th labor and delivery. So the first 4 times that I have delivered my children, I have, because if you watch my vlogs, you know I have 5 little ones, and I think Phoebe is about to cry. Let's see. I'm sorry you guys, I have a lot of noise going on in the background. I have the washer and dryer going because I'm doing laundry. I have the breast pump going because I am pumping. And I have some white noise playing for Phoebe as she was relaxing and I was hoping going to go off to sleep. But it sounds like she might. She just grunted a little bit. But nevertheless, so I just wanted to talk about the differences between a medicated labor and delivery, meaning an epidural or Demerol or anything that it is that they give you to relieve pain, if you will, or to lessen or dull the pain versus a natural unmedicated labor and delivery. A lot of people talk about the time in which it takes. Honestly, I believe that it all is dependent on your body and your baby. I don't think there is any cookie cutter approach to making it come quicker, faster, lessening the time or anything like that. I honestly think that it just depends on your body. The reason I say that is because with my first daughter, 8 years ago, almost 9 years ago now, I was in labor for 12 hours, and that was a medicated labor and delivery. This labor and delivery, I was in labor for 12 hours, and I'm talking from contractions to delivery. So I think it really just depends on, because they say, hey, by your 5th kid, you know, you're in and out. But I think it honestly just depends on your body and your baby. So I wouldn't really, you know, and every pregnancy is different. Every labor and delivery experience is different. The whole 9 yards. So let's get into some differences. The first, just in doing a comparison, compare and contrast, all of my labor and deliveries primarily were good labor and deliveries, because ultimately at the end of it, right, you get a healthy baby. But my first labor and delivery, I went into it with the hopes and the intentions to labor as long as I possibly could without medication, and my mind was kind of like, hey, if I get medication, I get it. If I don't, I don't, you know. And I had to wrap my mind kind of around, I'm no one's superwoman. And like God placed, you know, epidurals and all of that other good stuff in the world for us to be aided if in fact we needed that. Hold So I ended up laboring at home for about, I want to say 6 hours or so. And as I was laboring, I was able to maneuver through my contractions fairly well, especially for a first time, mom, and the first time going through this process. So by the time I got to the hospital, I was only 3 centimeters dilated. They will not keep you until you are 4 centimeters dilated. That's what they consider active labor generally. So I was 3 centimeters dilated, so they gave me the option to walk the hospital. Because I was having contractions, they just weren't close enough contractions or hard enough contractions to produce the dilation, right? So they allowed me to walk through the hospital, so I walked around the hospital for a little bit over an hour. By the time I got back to triage on the labor and delivery floor, I was 4 centimeters dilated. So by the time they got me connected in, they of course had me stuck in the bed. Now at this point I had an IV, but I had not had like any pain medication or anything like that. But I was not able to move around. I was not able to freely kind of just labor. I was stuck in the bed, unfortunately, and I had the monitor on for the baby's heart rate. I had the monitor on, monitoring my contractions. All of these different contraptions that you have just to ensure that everything is going progressively well. So first difference, that was the difference. You had the IV and you had all of these monitors that you were connected to, and you were forced, if you will, to stay in the bed so that they could monitor everything. Now, looking at it, that was the medicated side. Looking at it from the unmedicated side, there were no monitors to monitor the baby's heart or to monitor my contractions. I was that monitor. They did use the Doppler, and they came in every so often to check the baby's heartbeat with the Doppler. But it wasn't something that you had to keep connected to you that restrained you. I was able to walk the hospital without restraint, so I was not restricted to the bed setting. So huge difference from a mental and emotional perspective, because anyone who's ever experienced labor and delivery could probably attest to the fact that if I move, I am able to help my body to do what it naturally is supposed to do in an effort to deliver my baby. So me moving helped to actually allow my pelvic area to open, or my pelvis to open, and the baby to continue to descend down and in preparation for birth, right? So the restraint or the restriction to the bed kind of squashed that, if you will. So that was difference number one. Number two, the second difference that I noticed was as I stated before, just the atmosphere of the area was different. The birthing at a natural birthing center, and this was in the hospital, it was the same hospital that I birthed all of my children, just a different area of the hospital. There was not a lot of traffic. There was not a lot of noise. Quite naturally, you did not have all of those machines around. So it wasn't things going off beeping because, oh, you move this way or you move that way. There were no machines. Like, there was none of that. So I had music. So the music was what I heard. So from a mental perspective or psychological perspective, it just was very, very calming to be in the unmedicated side, because laboring in the other part of the hospital, it was just constant movement. You had nurses coming in, you had the people that clean the room coming in, you had, just all kinds of traffic, just back and forth traffic. And from a natural experience, it was not like that at all. The traffic that you had there was, who you brought into the room with you. And like I said, every once in a while, the nurse would come in just to check the baby's heart. And then the doctor will come in if, in fact, you asked him or her to come in to check you, if you felt like you had progressed as far as dilation. Let's see. The third difference with laboring from a medicated versus unmedicated perspective is, from a medicated perspective, and this was my experience with my first 4 children. If in fact you are not progressing as quickly as the hospital staff feel that you should be progressing, they have a tendency to take action. What do I mean by that? Say, for instance, you've gotten to 6 centimeters dilated. However, your contractions have started to spread apart, and they are not every 4 minutes. Now they're every 8 minutes. So, and the contractions are not as hard. They have lightened up to some degree. That means generally that your body is not progressively moving forward in the laboring process, which means it's going to take longer for you to deliver, which means the hospital staff feel as though they need to help you or to help your body to get to that point of contracting more. So they will then, in your IV, give you something called Pitocin. Pitocin is a drug that is used to help your body progressively move forward in the laboring process, and it's to help your contractions, it's to help your body contract so that you are able to dilate quicker. However, my experience with the Pitocin is that it causes your body to quickly respond, which adds to the pain, because now that I'm giving you Pitocin, I'm causing your body to go faster than what it's naturally doing or naturally supposed to do in an effort to get the baby to descend more, for you to dilate more, for you to be in the process of actually ready to deliver the baby. And so it causes your contractions to speed up, and it causes, sometimes it causes the pain to become so intense that it gets to the point where you feel as though you're lacking control with your body, because the contractions, instead of them, one experience that I've had was the contractions were lasting for over a minute. Guys, anybody who's ever had a baby, who's ever went through the labor and delivery process, contractions lasting 60 seconds or longer. I had contractions lasting from 60 to 90 seconds. That is a long period of time to have an intense contraction with no relief. Because of course with those contractions you have to breathe through those contractions, but with the contraction that's lasting 90 seconds per se, without you being able to, without it dissipating or slowly, regressing, you forget to breathe. Let's just be honest. So, and that's what one of my experiences was with the Pitocin. The Pitocin sped it up so much that the pain was just unbearable. I became nauseous, and then I began vomiting because my body had begun to reject the pain. Yeah, it got me to the point where it's time to deliver, quickly, but it caused a lot more pain during the process. The difference from the unmedicated side. Your body is able to naturally do what your body needs to do to progressively move the labor and delivery process along. We have within our bodies what's called oxytocin. So nipple stimulation actually produces the oxytocin, which is the natural form of what our body needs in order to progressively move forward. So you have Pitocin, which is like the synthetic drug or what have you that they give you to move the process along. But then you have oxytocin, which is something that your body naturally creates, which helps the body to progressively move forward in the laboring and delivery process. So during this particular labor and delivery, I did nipple stimulation. The nipple stimulation caused my body to respond, and to respond from a progressive and positive perspective. So as I did the nipple stimulation, nipple stimulation is simply rubbing your nipples, stimulating your nipples in an effort to get your body to release the oxytocin. So as I did that, my body responded, and it responded in a positive way. And I was able to now, to some degree, control how my contractions were coming, because once I stopped the nipple stimulation, I'm not saying that the contractions stopped, but it wasn't something that was a constant driver. It wasn't this constant force of medicine or something being pumped into your system, forcing your body to respond. As I did the nipple stimulation, I felt the contractions coming closer. So now I went from 8 minutes apart, my contractions being 8 minutes apart, to them now being 6 minutes apart, and then to them then being 4 minutes apart. And that was what actually thrusted me right into the delivery process. I had labored for over 8 hours. And at this point, I'm talking to my doula, and I'm like, so what else, because I'm eager to see the baby, so I'm eager to get the process along as well. So I'm talking to, as I stated, my doula and my doctor, so what is it that I can do from this perspective? I had walked 9,600 steps. That's how many steps I had taken during this process. I did over 100 squats during this process, and all of it profitable, and all of it just an awesome way to help your body to do what it naturally needs to do in order to birth your baby. So the squats, of course, help to open up your pelvic area and to help the baby descend. I did pelvic rolls, which also helps to open up that area and just get the baby down into the birth canal, so that, hey, when it's time to go, it's time to go. But all of that in the process of helping my body to progressively move forward. So after my doula and doctor said, hey, let's try some nipple stimulation. You've walked, you've done squats, you've done all of this stuff. I was even able to take a rest period. I was still having contractions. However, I was able to lay down to rest just to regain some extra energy. So once I am actually in the process of pushing, that I'm not there forever. I literally pushed for less than 2 minutes and the baby was here. And, but it just helps the whole process. The resting period, the walking, the squats, the rolls. Okay, the baby's crying. The experience, however, both experiences, from a medicated perspective or an unmedicated perspective, as I stated at the beginning of this video, both result in the same thing. Originally, I kind of felt like I had a point to prove. I'm not a woman if I can't do it this particular way. That's a lie. And that's a lie that we create in our own heads. You're a woman because you've carried this baby for 9+ months. You're a woman because you, oh my gosh, just have a heart to love and nurture and care for your baby. So you doing it unmedicated versus medicated doesn't make a difference. Ultimately, you are bringing into the world a little human being, and you've carried this little being for 40+ weeks, right? So glory in the fact that you've done that, and cherish that. But know that you want your experience during labor and delivery to be a positive experience. So this isn't a video saying you should do it this way versus this way. Do it whatever way calms your mind, because remember, you are your baby is experiencing what it is that you experience, so you want it to be calming, you want it to be beautiful, you want it to be an awesome and memorable experience. So regardless of which way you do it where it's enjoyable for you. If I were to have another little one, I would definitely go the route of the natural way. Was it painful? In the end, it was. I was able to maneuver through the contractions. By the time I got 9 centimeters and like 3/4 dilated, I was super, super ready. Was it painful? As I stated, it is. It's painful with the medication though. Let's be honest. Nothing wipes away the pain. With the epidural, they actually turn the epidural pump off before you start pushing so that you can actually have feeling in your legs and in your vaginal area to be able to birth your baby. So is it some form of discomfort or some form of pain? It is. That's the reality of birthing a baby. You are dilating to 10 centimeters and you are pushing a human being out of your body. So yes, you will have some pain, some discomfort. That's just the truth and the reality. However, the natural versus unnatural, I'm telling you, like the experience within itself, being able to labor on your own, being able to walk around, being able to just enjoy the experience without being stuck or restricted is such a different experience. I was able to eat, when you first come into the hospital, from the medicated perspective, they're like, you can't eat, you can't drink, you can't do this, you can't do that. While I was pushing the baby out, my doula was giving me something to drink because my mouth had gotten really, really dry. That would never have happened. Well, from my experience, I don't think that would have happened on the other side from a medicated perspective. So, again, this is not to persuade you one way or the other. Do what makes you feel good, because ultimately you need to feel good in an effort to enjoy the experience and to have healthy vibes, and happy energy surrounding you. I hope the information that I've shared in this video has helped someone, and I honestly feel that knowledge not shared is lost and wasted. This is the knowledge that I've gained from seeing it both sides, the medicated side and the unmedicated side, and I just hope that someone benefits from this information. I hope you guys check out the vlog of the labor and delivery process if you have not already. And hey, thank you guys for watching. I hope you like this video. If you like the video, hit the like button and subscribe, and please share this information, share this video, share this vlogging channel, this family oriented channel focused on faith, family, and community with everybody that you know. All right guys, it was so great chatting with you. I'll see you in the next video.
It's like last night,